Or good morning, Facebook, wherever you are in the world, and we are delighted to have viewers from the world, around the world. And I'd like to say, good morning, early morning to my friend Robert Myers. Morning, Robert. How are things with you?
Good morning, Stephen. It's a bright, sunny day here on the west coast of California.
Well, you'll be amazed to hear this. It's a bright, sunny day here in Devizes as well.
Yeah.
And we've been told that we're in for a heat wave. So we're looking forward to that. And I want to say hello to Corinda.
Hi, Corinda.
Thanks for joining us. And it's good to have you here. Now, I've got to say that Robert chose the topic for today. So I'm going to take a back seat for a moment while Robert describes our topic today, which is there. Media goal. Yeah. Over to you, sir.
Okay. I'm talking to a black screen. I don't know whether I need to refresh or not.
Can you hear me?
Now it's back. I can hear you. Yeah, it came back, Stephen. So I looked at the calendar yesterday, and I was shocked to realize that actually today is the last day of the 5th month of 2017. And I'm a big proponent of goal setting and goal monitoring. And I realized that, by golly, we've only got 30 days to do a status check on where we are on our goals for 2017. And so, me personally, I am going to have to do some adjustments on what it was I thought I could accomplish, because as in almost every year, I have things arise outside of my control that I didn't plan on, or take a little longer than you might have originally planned. And so I wanted to talk about how others handle this situation in their lives, and kind of throw that out there for discussion. How do you deal with monitoring your goals throughout the year? So that's kind of the topic of the hour, or half hour, however long we continue on the air, Stephen. What's your thoughts on that?
All right. Okay. Now, my thoughts on that is that we all start off at the beginning of the year with goals that we're going to achieve during the course of the year. And as you say, now we're heading towards the year, and now is the time. If you're going to correct your course to do it, then you've got half the year left to achieve what you set out to do. And my targets through the beginning of this year were to become reasonably well known on live video, and those have been superseded quite a bit. So my first target's been achieved. Other targets, though, have not been achieved yet. And I have a lot of work to do. I know that. What about yourself? Which goals have worked and which haven't?
Well, I have also a goal of establishing a regularly scheduled show on live streaming. That has not yet happened, but I know that it will happen. And in the near term, I'm waiting for my schedule to kind of calm down. I've recently had a change in my personal life schedule, and for personal reasons, went back to an employment situation. Mm-hmm. And so that I'm waiting for that to kind of adjust, and then I believe quite a few people will be seeing a bit more of me on Facebook Live and in various locations. So my wife and I have been through a bit of a remodel in the new place that we moved to during the fall of last year here in California. We located into a condominium that just wasn't suited to our needs. So we've done remodel of the kitchen and one of the baths and and now the last bathroom is under reconstruction. So at the end of the week. So, and then I've got some personal goals with weight loss that while I've made progress on, I haven't achieved the goal itself yet, but I'm pretty confident I will achieve that personal goal by the end of the year. So that's my thoughts on it, or my progress on it.
Right. Okay. Now I just want to take a break for a second because
Sure.
Corinda's watching, and he says that he can hear you, but your screen is frozen.
My screen is frozen.
Well, not to me, not to you,
but to Corinder.
but to the Facebook feed. He can hear you, but he can't see you. I'm just going to take a look. Just give me a second.
Okay.
We'll just take a break. I mean,
yeah.
The joy of live video is that we're in control, and I'm just going to my Facebook page, and I'm coming up to date.
Mm-hmm.
All right, just don't move, Robert. Don't move. Right, okay. I've got a request to make. Don't go anywhere, Robert. Could you refresh your browser, please?
Yes.
Right, okay. Now, I mean, this is the thing about live video. You don't know what the cause is. And normally, I would say that I would wait for two people. Oh, right. That didn't. Sorry, my shout out wasn't to you; it was to Corinda.
Oh,
thank you anyway. The problem with live video is that if you in the comments you see two people saying that something's wrong, then you know it's wrong.
Yeah.
If you see one person saying something's wrong, you don't know whether it's something that's taking place here or something that's taking place in their browser on Facebook. Now, in this particular instance, it was the browser on Facebook that was the problem. Right, okay. And Corinda says we're back to normal, so we'll aim for normal. That's pretty good.
No worries.
Right, so we are back on screen and to our topic.
Yeah.
Do you plan weekly or monthly, or how frequent do you plan?
I kind of do a monthly review on where I am, but that's my normal course. But of course, with the move and so forth, I've been out of my norm. A new location, new environment, a new condominium, and going through the construction process. Things are not in their normal places. Constantly searching for things in boxes that are maybe not unpacked yet. And so there's a lot of that kind of inefficiency, and my little location here that I call my studio is really just a very tiny corner of an outside garage.
Right. Okay.
It's about 5 meters from the condominium, but it's my little man cave, as it were. So.
Right, and I'm located in
sometimes
the house.
I have some. Yeah. So it's really a pretty comfortable little place. I'm just trying to get everything settled, so I have a more standardized location to broadcast and live stream from. So little by little.
Indeed, that's what we've got to do.
And what about you?
I do plan ahead because I've got live broadcasts that I do. I've got live broadcasts Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So obviously I'm not doing them alone. So I've got to mark out that time and check that I keep that time. So I do plan the week ahead. I then planned writing the Udemy courses around that. And then, of course, there's the things that everyday life. I keep trying to do 10,000 steps a day, 5 miles a day exercise. Some days I manage it, some days I don't.
Right.
So that's the trusty Fitbit. which helps. I don't plan further ahead than a week. I've got a sort of master plan, which is I'm going to have a Udemy course out in June. I'm going to have a Udemy course out in July. And Tina's saying hello. So we've been joined by Tina. Nice to see you. I've seen you. I saw Tina earlier, I'm sure.
I think so.
Rocking the shades today.
Oh, I changed the aspect of the camera, Tina. She's very familiar with my normal background, having some blinds that bleed a little light through them, and so I have a little more TV over my shoulder here, and I put it on BBC Global, so that
impartial news.
Some of the British audience might recognize it. Although it may not be what the British community sees locally. I don't know.
Well, no, it is.
It's the global version.
Yeah, it is a different organisation, and they take their feeds from the UK BBC News and from BBC World. So a variety of it is representative of what's going on in the UK today. Which for the next 9 days, we're in an election phase again. And basically, there are three parties involved. The general election, which was called by our Prime Minister 2 weeks ago, and people only had 3 weeks to actually get ready for the general election. And we've got 600 representatives being elected areas in the country to our Parliament. And when the leader of the Conservatives, Theresa May, went into this, in the polls, which everybody trusts, of course, but the polls are the polls, she had a 24% lead.
Yeah.
So she thought she was a shoo-in to get back in office and get a majority, an overall majority of about 100. Yeah? Guess what? That 24% has dropped to 8% with a week to go. She has just, I mean, I'm going to be apolitical. Well, I can't be apolitical. I'm a liberal Democrat. I can be liberal, though. The Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn, has outperformed our Prime Minister in every aspect. He is a man for the people, of the people, a bit like Bernie Sanders. And he can talk to an audience of thousands and attract an audience of thousands. Whereas our current Prime Minister is going on carefully organised event, people who are known to support her are talking to her, and she's hidden from the cameras. So he's having a whale of a time actually going around and telling people what it could be like. So we're in that for until the 8th of June, as Corinda says, and Corinda can't wait to the 8th of June. I personally, Corinda, I've got to be honest here, I can't wait till the 9th of June when it's all over. Because obviously,
when it's known.
when we know what's happened, it's going to be interesting. I mean, there's been nothing, I mean, in both our countries, I don't want to misspeak here, but there have been situations that we didn't expect, like Britain leaving Europe.
Yes.
You know, which are sort of strange things that you can't plan for.
Right.
I mean, even their government didn't plan for it. They didn't expect the answer, and the people said, "We're leaving Europe. We're leaving the EU. We'll always be European."
Right.
You know, and that's left us with them. I'm Devizes as a town for the last 50 years has been twinned with towns in Germany and with France, and that's part of holding the peace and making sure that people do. Get to know each other in the three countries, England, France and Germany. And I'm chairman of that 2030, and it's the 50th year this year. So we're actually celebrating being European whilst
you're exiting.
Whilst we're leaving the EU. So we can remain European, but we're going to end up leaving the EU, I think. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can plan things in our own day-to-day lives, can't we? But we can't do anything about events outside that. We just got to work with them.
Yeah, yeah. There's so little that we actually control, but we like to think that we have greater control of things than we actually do. I think.
Well, we've got the
I don't
illusion.
think that I'm.
Sorry.
Yes, yes. We labor under the illusion that we actually control much around us. So.
Well, we control an area around where we live. That's ours. Okay. And we've got fences around, so we can control that. We have a say in the lives within that, but outside that, then you get to an area has a town council.
Yeah.
The town council decide what happens in the town, and then there's an area, a state or a county.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, we have control of our day-to-day lives, and we've got choices. I mean, the thing that we do have in the West is freedom of choice, isn't it?
Yes, yes. Well, I really know very little about other countries that do not share the freedoms that we have. Just only experienced really the U.S. and haven't had the opportunity. That's sometime out in my future, hopefully. Right. With the family situation that my wife and I have, we just haven't had that ability yet. So
understood. It is. I mean, we keep in touch with events through television as well, and now through the internet. I mean, the situation is. Let's just take a simple example, which you and I take for granted. Okay, I have a broadcast on Thursdays at 8 a.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. And the broadcast is with a lady in Pakistan called Rubail Rabia, and we've been doing this show for the last 5 weeks now. And we're looking forward to the show last week, and I was on my own, and I thought, what's happened here? What I didn't think of, which had actually happened, is that her district in her town had a power cut. Now, this is not an unplanned power cut. This is a planned power cut, so that there's a rolling power cut goes across the city.
Yes.
And we don't get that. Unless there's a statewide emergency on, we can take our electricity for granted, can't we? And our water.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, coming on to Brigetti, have you heard of Brigetti?
Yes, I have.
Brilliant. Okay. Now, Brigetti is now running a broadcast for the Cape Town water crisis. Now, water is something that, again, but Cape Town apparently is going to run out of water. So that's a major problem. Not be low on water. The dams are so low above Cape Town that the whole city is going to be without water. And there was an American engineer with her, talking to her the other day and saying it's too late. It's too late to actually do anything. So I think we're privileged to live in the West because which it's just through being here, being on live video and talking to people, you find out things that you wouldn't have thought.
Yeah. The marvel of me just being able to sit here and have a conversation with you and have it feel as if we're in the same room.
Oh yeah,
is just spectacular. It's just spectacular.
It is,
and I just that's one of the things I love about this live streaming environment that we like to play in, I think. So.
I mean, it's brought networking to life. I mean, before you could message people, but you couldn't actually speak to them face to face. And if you did, it was on Skype. And if you did, it was only the two of you. Now you can broadcast, the recording can go onto YouTube, so you can reach a bigger, wider audience, can't you?
Yes. Yeah. and automatically put it up there with repurpose, as we both know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't survive now without it.
With the number of programs that you're doing, I would say, yeah, you would not have a chance to sleep.
It's just given me an extra day a week. It's as simple as that. I don't have to set aside time. I don't have to plan for it because it just happens. And it's freed up that time. So I'm grateful to Annie. In fact, Annie is going to be back with us in 4 weeks' time.
Okay.
With Tina and I, and this time we'll be talking about the WordPress plugin.
Yes.
I think that's how we came to know Annie. That was the first product that he brought across, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, I believe. Yeah.
So looking forward to that, but we've got plenty of time between now and then.
Right. So let me understand this time difference. It's 5:30 or almost 5:30 where you are.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
And it's 9 here. So if I'm at midnight here on the West Coast, you're at 8 a.m.?
Correct.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Interesting. So when I have insomnia, it's prime time or early morning for you guys.
It's early morning. I mean, the earliest show I do at any time is at 10 a.m. 2 a.m. yours, and that's the Blooding for Britain show, which is in its 17th week. But the audience for live video, the peak time is between 2 and 5 Eastern. Yeah, that's the peak. That's the peak time. That's the time of day when most people broadcast. Is between 2 and 5 o'clock. If I want to reach out, as Tina and I do, to people in America, we catch yourself at 9 o'clock. We catch the East Coast at midday, and we catch the UK when they're just leaving work. So it's a sort of good time to be. 5 o'clock is probably the best time to catch people who are taking a break or having breakfast, and 3 o'clock is the best time to catch people on the East Coast in the morning, but it's a bit early for you.
Yeah.
It's truly global. I mean, we've missed out two entire continents, because Australia and New Zealand and the Philippines. Right. Yeah, all different time zones.
Right.
Time zones.
I'd like to figure out when my timing is in relation to Australia. I'd like to meet a couple of folks there. I'm going to have to figure out when that is and see if I can't locate some of their live streams and hop on them.
It's just. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
It was rather easy with Blab when we could search. Do you have a solution to that search capability?
Well,
or in just the groups that you're involved in.
It's just the groups I'm involved in, right? Okay.
Yeah.
We have our answer. It's basically in the groups. I mean, there have been several attempts to build a directory of shows. I mean, we've got one in LVS 17,
right?
Which I contributed to. Eileen contributed to, and a few good people did as well. But that's got cobwebs on it now, and that's only 3 months ago, because people don't go back to it. The only one that's lasting the course is the one in the Be Livers group, which is today's shows. And you can go in the Be Livers group, and you can see all the shows some of the shows that are coming up. What? I'm not having that. Tina's saying that hers was a failed attempt. This is a major problem, and yours was a good try at actually getting something going, getting people involved. I mean, all these systems, and people have got to actually do something, and therein lies the problem. Would you like to join us on camera, Tina?
Please do. Hop on up.
Hang on, I haven't posted a link. That's where we're going wrong. Just a moment.
Okay.
It's remiss of me. Let me go to Facebook and
Post the guest link.
Stephen on video. Yeah, I'm just going to post the guest link now. Now I'm going to scroll down a bit. I hate that you've got to go halfway down the page and more to actually get to the post that you're interested in. So I'm going to edit it and put the link in there. So, join us. Okay, so I've saved that. Now, I'm back now, so apologies for that, but if you want to join us, the link is there, and I want to say hello to Rebel, and looking forward to tomorrow.
Yes, hi Rebel.
The other thing I could have done, and this is a thing I keep forgetting, is that I can scroll down the page here, and I can just post a link from here. I don't need to leave here. And oh dear, there's so many bells and whistles with this.
Yes.
So if you want to join us twice now, you can actually join us live on air. I mean, ostensibly, we started off with a topic of a mid-year goal review, and course correction will keep going.
Yeah.
I think just coming back to that for a moment, my goals for this year, I couldn't have seen what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because the being on Be Live Weekly and actually getting my first Udemy courses approved. I mean, that's the biggest challenge of the year. It was getting the Udemy courses approved.
Yes.
Because I'd done courses on Skillshare, but the Udemy quality standards are so high in terms of video content.
Mm-hmm.
And
how many courses do you have up there? No.
On
Udemy.
Hello, Tina.
Hello.
On Udemy, I have 3.5 courses.
Okay.
I've got three, and one's a work in progress because Tina and I are working together.
Yes. Good morning, Tina.
Good morning. Yeah. So the TV guide
share on the top. Yeah.
Yeah, the TV guide thing, that the reason I say failed is because it wasn't sustainable. Unless you can figure out a way to automate this, it's way too much work. It's very time consuming to try to collate all of this information. So there needs to be a way for people to put in their own information and to update it. The only thing I can figure out right now is sort of a directory. So we could have a directory that could be automated where people could put their show information in. And so you could go look at, like search by topic or something to find the shows, but I can't figure out a way to do kind of a guide so that every day it collates the information it has and makes a guide that says, you know, at 8 to 9 p.m. these people are on and so on. I don't have the skill set to make that happen. So
that's the one side of the equation. The second side of the equation is the fact that people won't give you the information regularly, and that's something you I mean, when let me think for a moment. My mind's gone total blank.
Or conversely,
keep this going.
Conversely, they may not know that they should give you that information.
Yeah, I think that if you got one going that was successful after a startup period, then you would have people would be excited and they would want to make sure that their shows are there because they would realize that's where people come to find the shows that are playing. Getting that initial information, though, you're probably going to have to go out and collect it yourself. So, and it's difficult to do because Facebook does not have a way to search for live shows. No. So it's almost impossible for you to even collect that information yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you've said to people, put a tag in the show, then we can find it. Mm-hmm. But you still can't.
No.
Because the way Facebook is organized, it's as if they're trying to keep something from you.
Yeah, it's very frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that not all live shows are ranked equally. Yeah, right. I'm sure of this. If shows were ranked equally and had equal ranking and appearing in people's timelines, then there are people who would have more viewers. Yeah, I'm sure of this. I mean, you can count. If Joel Congo, he's going to get people watching. If one of the big names goes live, they're going to get people watching because they have done the spade work and people know that they've liked the page and they're going to tune in. Getting from a low level to the higher level means creating a brand awareness, doesn't it? And it's not an overnight thing. I mean, they've taken years to get where they are.
Absolutely. And really, the Facebook is the one that needs to create this guide that we keep talking about. They're in the best position. They have the people that have the skill set, number one, to make it happen, and they have the resources to make it happen. And they know, like, their system is able to know when people have things scheduled to go live and when people are live. So they really are the people, they are the entity that needs to make this happen. Or if not a guide, then at least, they've got the little live tab over on your left-hand side. If you scroll down far enough, you'll see something that says live. All it does is give you a geographical map and little dots of where people are, which is completely useless. I mean, I don't even know why that's there. It doesn't help at all with anything.
It's a bit random, isn't it?
It's very strange.
You don't want to click on a location. You want to click on a topic. I mean, if a rock concert was taking place and it was live in Ohio or wherever, then if you could click on it and watch the concert because you knew it was there, then that'd be one thing. But to click on a location and not know who's going to be there or what they're going to be doing,
right?
It's roulette, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's roulette.
Yeah. Never know what you'll stumble upon.
Well, no,
I got to tell you. Something that comes up on my feed all the time, live shows. And I don't know why they come up on my feed because I never watch them because to me it's one of the most bizarre business ideas I've ever seen. And so there's this business where you get oysters and you open the oysters and you get a pearl, okay? And so one of them, a woman's called a pearl lady. So it's just like this bucket of oysters and there are literally hundreds of people watching and they're commenting, I want a fat juicy one, or I want a little shiny one, or whatever. And so she's cracking and it's disgusting. And I guess they get the pearl that's in it, and they can buy jewelry to put the pearl in. I don't know. Yeah. It's bizarre. That is one of the most watched things I've ever seen. Every time I've seen, there's more than one woman that does it. Every time I've seen someone doing it, they always have 300 or 400 live viewers at one time. Tons of content. I mean, tons of comments. And for whatever reason, Facebook thinks I want to see this because it comes up in my feed all the time. I'm like, I don't wear jewelry, hello, and I don't watch this stuff. So I don't know why I keep getting it. But
that's funny because I have never seen that in my feed at all.
Yeah.
I guess because I'm a girl, I want to see it. I don't know what Facebook is thinking, but stop it.
The mysteries of Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a job I would want.
Yes.
I'm allergic to shellfish, number one, so I'm not going to be handling any. But yeah, it's gross. I don't know why people want to watch it, but there's lots of people watching.
Yeah, Tina.
Yeah.
What progress have you made this year on your goals?
The progress I've made has been moving them to the next month, into the next month, into the next month. Anyway. Not what I've wanted to make it for sure. Lots of collaboration and lots of ideas and things that I want to move forward, but a lot of them are moving at snail pace. So, and some of them I've just stopped doing. So I guess if I've made any progress, it has in being a little more selective and a little more focused on what I'm trying to do instead of trying to juggle so many things. Still juggle a lot, but nothing like I was trying to do initially. So everything's growing. So I guess that's good.
Yes. Yeah. You can feel the progress.
Yeah. I can see the progress in the results of what I'm doing more so than I can see in my goals because I'm a list maker. And so I like to have things that I can check off. And so most of the things that I'm doing have so many steps that while I am making progress, I can't check stuff off yet. So I feel like I'm not
yeah.
making progress.
Stephen, we talked about that earlier. What each of us does, rather on a monthly basis or a weekly. You plan weekly. I'm kind of always been a daily to-do list maker, and I invariably put on more than I can do on any given day. But usually I'm good at getting the highest priority ones done. And so I've just always found that quite valuable, and incrementally that does progress me towards, my overall goals.
And I'm kind of the same. I do daily checklists, because if I break things down small enough, then I can actually mark something off. So maybe I can't check the goal off, but at least I can mark out a task that I've completed. So I feel like I'm making progress. So I'm definitely a task list maker as well.
Yeah.
And if I don't write it down, I forget, because I have my regular job that I do with the social media management for the funeral homes. And so I don't necessarily have that as a checklist, because it's something I know I've been doing for a long time. And so it's, in my frontal lobe, and I know that I have to do that every single day. But with the collaborations that I'm doing, which I'm collaborating with both these gentlemen, those are kind of, especially with Robert, it's kind of a really big goal, a really big thing to do at the end of it. And so when we meet twice a week, and we try to set goals for us, we can come back on Friday and look at our accomplishments, which Robert just started another job. And so, and my kids just had their last week of school. So last week we didn't accomplish anything, literally. So with Stephen, he's very organized and does things. Well, you are, and you're very detailed in the steps, which is great for me, because I can see that, okay, I need to do. So I have something I need to do for Stephen when I get through here. And so I know that's 2 steps. I need to do this and I need to do this. But the point I was making is, if I don't write that down, because it's not something I'm used to doing every day, then I forget what it was I was supposed to do. So I have to write it down.
Do either of you use tools such as Google Calendar to assist you on your daily task lists or monthly?
I couldn't live without it. Basically, I put the shows in there, and because they repeat, I know what days they're on. But I also know what dates they're on, which is as important when actually creating the show here. You've got to know what date you want to plan for. I have before now created the wrong show, or the right show on the wrong date. This is a true story. 2 weeks ago, I had 3 shows, and I sat down on BeLive.tv and I clicked talk show, and I typed in the title and the time and the date, and then it went and posted, and I realized that I was an hour out because of the time change. Yeah. So what can I do? The only thing you can do is delete it. So I deleted it. 2 minutes after I deleted it, Daniel came on Messenger and said, "Is everything okay, Stephen? You've deleted a broadcast, and that's something you never, ever do. I just want to make sure you're okay."
They're used to me deleting, because I don't do the wrong time usually. I post it to the wrong page. And so then I did that actually just a few minutes ago. I have a show today at 2:00, and I posted it on my personal timeline, which is not where it goes. So I had to delete it and start over. But as far as Google Calendar, I don't know what that is, but Google Calendar, I put everything in it. I even set reminders so that I get reminders. And for me, because I don't have as much going on yet as Stephen does for shows, it's not so much to remind me what show I have at what time and date. It's more to remind me that who the guest is, because I put that in there. So I know that my guest today is Lindsay. And so, I don't want to I don't want to mix up my guest, and then I'm expecting Robert to show up, and Stephen shows up.
And well, the thing about live broadcasting is that your friends can come into the show on Talk Show at any time. So I'm going to take a breather just for a moment or two. And if you've got questions for me, I'll be back in a moment. You've no questions for me. Okay. It's not me you want to talk to, really, is it? No. Okay, I'm just going to drop down.
Oh, he dropped down before he finished his sentence.
Yeah.
Now you get me.
Well, so Tina. Oh, David. Good morning, David.
Better or worse?
I love your shirt. I'm a huge fan.
Deadpool's the dude.
Definitely. I can't wait for Deadpool 2. Very excited. How are you today? How are you today?
How are you?
I'm good. Are you dropping more knowledge bombs there, Tina?
Yeah. You cracked me up. I don't know if you saw my response to your comment.
I did.
Yeah. I said, for the people who didn't say it, that David's comments are oftentimes more entertaining than the show I'm in or the show I'm watching. So, yeah, very funny.
That's me. I love it.
How are you, David?
This is on Steven's video. It's on his thing. He's talking about mid-year goal review, course correction, or keep going with Robert and Steven.
Yeah.
So what's the
Steven has course corrected and decided that it is now a course correction in goals with David, Tina, and Robert.
David, it was my
What?
It was my thought concept yesterday that I realized today is the last day of May. Where the heck has 2017 gone so far? And so tomorrow we're already in mid-year month, and how much progress have I made on my goals? And so was the topic of today's show: is what do you use for goal setting? What's your process for goal review? Mid-year course correction, or daily, weekly, monthly, what are your patterns, David?
Oh, I treat it like a dartboard. I just throw on whatever sticks. That's the way it goes. I mean, that's the way it's supposed to be, right?
Or like making pasta, huh?
The new
throw it against the wall, and whatever sticks, it's done.
Whatever pasta sticks to the wall, if it sticks, that's right. It's kind of like the same type of analogy that most people try to use when they do advertising or really anything when marketing their business. They use a puke and stay approach, and that's basically they just throw up on everybody's shoes, and somebody's going to like it, and whoever does, that must be who they like. So
the dartboard planning method.
Yes.
The dartboard planning method.
Yes.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. And the key to that is to make sure that you are the one throwing the darts, not the one in front of the dartboard throwing the darts thrown at you, because then you've got personal injury.
David, is that with or without blindfold?
Either way. Either way. Do you want to see it coming, or would you rather be surprised? Leland says that I'm doing the A/B testing for life. Yeah, that's pretty much the way it is. Goal reviews. I guess it comes down to, with me, the approach that I've latched onto is that your week is your month is your year. It's all about planning, and understanding where you are. So before I go to bed, I write down 3 things that I want to tackle in the morning or tomorrow or today. Well, tomorrow.
Are you consistent with that?
Am I consistent with writing the goals down? Yes.
You are.
Am I consistent with achieving the goal the next day? That sometimes that depends on the goal.
Sure.
Most of the time it can get done, but that also comes back into the evening. So I go back and I review, and actually what I end up doing is I'll review real quick, I just kind of go over and I say, okay, I got this done. I didn't get this done. And why? And I will actually look and see, is this really something that I need to be focusing on right now? Is this helping me attain this big X goal? And so that's the importance to have that type of, a lot of people, the big approach that I really take towards goals is that I do what's called reverse goal planning. And so reverse goal plan. So the way that most of us attack any type of goal or mile marker or whatever you want to call it, is that it's, if you think of it like trying to climb a mountain, we get to the we get to the base of the mountain and we look up. And so we wake up and say, I'm going to climb this mountain. Well, that's great. It sounds great. You get all motivated. Then you get at the bottom of the mountain. And as you're at the base of the mountain, you're looking up and the mountain's really, really high. It's like, I can still do it. And then you start doing a little bit of the work and you start doing a few steps. And then, by that point you become discouraged and you get distracted between shiny objects and gophers and people falling off of ledges and whatever else you want to distract yourself with. So if you actually reverse that and it takes practice, but if you picture, okay, I'm at the top and you place yourself in that moment.
Right.
So if you place yourself in whatever goal that it is, and you say, I'm here, and then you basically just turn around and go, okay, and this is what I did to get here. And you go back step by step by step by step. And what you find with that method is that a lot of times you will encounter steps that you had not thought about faster, and they will not derail you from achieving the goal as quickly. So it's called reverse goal planning. Well, that's what I call it, reverse goal planning. So,
I hear
using
people
my
say that start at the end.
Where is it? Here it is. This helps. My little timer, my Pomodoro tomato timer, whatever. I have not read the Pomodoro technique. I don't really care about reading the Pomodoro technique, but I've gotten a very good summary of the Pomodoro technique. But basically what that does is that helps me stay focused and stay on track most of the time. So a good, for instance, is social media is a hellhole, and you will get lost in it very, very quickly if you do not find a way to distract yourself when you go into social media. So Facebook, Twitter, whatever. So I'll set the timer for 20 minutes. That's it.
Yeah.
And the timer, when I set it on the other side of the room so that when it goes off and it doesn't shut up, I have to get up and go to shut it off.
Right.
So, those types of things are just what help.
Yeah. Chunking small bits of time, maybe 15, 20 minutes to hyper focus is really a very powerful technique. And, I've used that in the past. Thank you for bringing that to forefront of mind, because that's a technique that I need to revisit. It's been several years since I've.
Yeah, and that's a good way. And Chris Brogan, who's a friend, teaches this strategy very, very well. He calls it the 20-minute plan. And there's a whole course and webinars that he's done on it and everything. But I mean, the basis of it is that you grid out a certain amount of time. And for him, it's like 3 hours. Now you can do whatever it is you want. Don't get hung up on the, if you want 4 hours, do 4 hours. I wouldn't recommend doing 8 hours because that's insane. But there's theory behind it. But what you do is you take like 3 hours and then you break it out into 20-minute blocks. So that's 9 blocks. So you have a 9-block square. And you look at your day. So your day's like, okay, so I'm going to do, I got to write a blog post. I need to respond to some customers. You start listing things out, and then you can get really detailed. Like, what are things that I can do? What are things that maybe I could outsource somebody else to do? A lot of people, if you charge $200 an hour to do something, and you're doing something that's $10 an hour work, and you could actually outsource that to somebody else, outsource it to somebody else so you can spend your time on the $200 an hour type stuff. But if you chunk it out,
Sure,
so it's like,
sure.
okay, it'll take me, it takes me, 20 minutes usually to do a 500-word blog post, if that. So I can sit there and put that down. But if I have never written blog posts out before, if I'm not doing it on a regular basis, then it may take me longer to write it. Or maybe I'll write a longer blog post or a weekly email, or, you can do whatever. And you just chunk this stuff into times. And I'm just giving a very broad paintbrush kind of stroke over what it is. But, all that type of stuff helps. And then what happens is, when you come up, you realize May 31st, tomorrow's June 1, and you're not surprised by, gee, where am I at with my goals? Because you've got them, you should know where you're at. So it all sounds really good, but it takes practice.
Exactly.
It is all it is. And it's you're not going to wake up tomorrow and do it perfectly, and then wake up the next day and do it perfectly, and wake up the next day and do it perfectly if you've never done it before. You might wake up tomorrow and do really, really great. And then the next day you wake up and you do just a little bit less. And then a week and a half later, it's not even part of your world anymore. You're not doing anything anymore, with it. And 6 months down the road, now all of a sudden, gee, I wish I would have, it just takes practice. And you got to be all in.
The system that works for you too.
You have to commit.
You're not a list maker, then don't go remember the milk and think you're going to actually use it, because you're not. It's going to sit there with your little checklist, and you're not going to do anything with it. And I think sometimes also people will get too many tools, and so you've got all of these tools that do different things, but in reality, it's taking more time than it's saving because you have too many tools. So you can't you don't want to have if this, then that, and Google Calendar, and remember the milk, and your paper checklist. And so figure out what works for you and use that one or two great tools, and don't have 50 tools that are taking your time you never actually utilize. So I have a question for you guys. If you write your list out, so you do the 3 at night, and Robert does a daily list. So if you make your list, and then that at the end of the night when you review to see what you've accomplished, and you've touched on this a little bit, David, if there's something there that you did not accomplish, you said you kind of look at it and see, is this something I need to put my attention on? And so my question is, do you ask yourself, is this really important to me? Can I just put this aside and not look at it right now? Or do you move it to the next day just because you didn't finish it? So how do you decide what's worthy of bumping to the next day, and let's focus on that at the top of the list tomorrow? Or maybe I'm trying to do too much and I need to go back and look at the whole thing and figure out what's important, and let's just put this other stuff aside, because that's been a problem for me. I'm kind of a control freak, and so I'm not really good at delegating, and so I try to do too much. And so I've gotten better this year actually at just saying, okay, this is a great idea. I really want to do this someday. I can't do this plus these other 4 things now. And so I have to kind of prioritize those things and put them away and not see them anymore, because otherwise I am that person that gets distracted by the shiny thing. So I really have to make a decision and say, okay, I love this. I would love to create, a TV guide for live talk shows, but I can't, because first, it's not as important as these other 3 things. Second, I don't really have the skill set to make it happen, and it's not sustainable. So let's throw it away for now. Doesn't mean it's not a good idea. It just means I can't do it. So how do you handle that kind of thing?
I think you just did a beautiful job. It's we come up with so many ways. There are, like you said, there's a tool for every freaking thing. There's probably 100 tools for every freaking thing. And I mean everything. And, we like to be not in control, but it's like, oh, well, this seems so simple and they do it, I can do it too. And then, then you lead down the path of, after you learn arduously how to do it half-assed, because let's be honest, most of us don't ever get to a pro level of anything that we want to learn. Then you sit there and some stupid thought usually comes across our brain and they go, well, I bet I could sit there and I could teach other people how to do this because now I'm an expert. And, so if you make cookies and you learn to change the oil in your car, it doesn't make you a mechanic. It makes you somebody that wants to change the oil in your car because you prefer to do that than go spend $30 down the road and let Jiffy Lube do it or whoever. So I think you came up with the perfect answer. I don't have the skill set. This is a great idea, but it's not helping me right now. There's a sign that I've got, and it says, is what you're doing right now helping build your business? And building business has two numbers associated with it, always and only. The number sign and the dollar sign. Or if you're in a different country, whatever your freaking currency sign is. Don't get hung up on the details. So the number sign, that's number of subscribers, that's the number of current customers, that's the number of leads, that's there's that number sign, and then there's the dollar sign. And the number sign always needs to lead to the dollar sign. And if what you're doing or what you're looking into is not helping out with one of those two numbers, you need to put it aside and stop it, or find somebody else that does it and suck it up and pay whatever fee that they're offering, because you will be a lot more sane, unless they're, saying, well, pay me a really stupid amount. But I mean,
David, how much? David, how much of that is our allure of control, or our thoughts that we may have control?
I don't know if it's
when in fact we really don't.
I heard Tina say control freak, and so Tina, I'm going to call you out. I'm going to call big old BS, because if you're such a control freak, then you would be in control of your day and you would know where everything exactly is, and you would have better. Most of us that say we're control freaks, we're actually fear freaks. And it can be fear of lots and lots of different things. Fear of the fact that, I
that
can't
they won't
justify.
do the job right, so you hold on to it instead of delegating it. So
so here's a good example. So I hear this from a lot of times from a lot of different people. So when you're starting a business, honestly, you don't need a website. You definitely don't need the fancy fucking logo. Excuse me. Bleep that out, Stephen. You definitely don't need the fancy logo, and the cute cursive and everything that looks all dolly and everything. You definitely don't need brand colors. You definitely don't need, there's 1,000 things that you don't need if you haven't even figured out what your product is yet that you're going to sell to people. But people will inevitably, they'll go after a website and they'll go after a logo and they'll go after a design, a brand colors and what's my font and all blah, blah, blah. And then they start looking at, okay, well, I need a website and I could pay this person $5,000 or $3,000 or $200 or $500. Honestly, the amount of money that you pay should equate with the quality of the product that you get. It should. I could do that, or, well, I could just go do it on my own. I mean, I know I can go start up a WordPress site or a Blogger site or something like that, and I can go buy a theme and I can make it look just the same. And they sit there and they come back to, because I want to be, I've looked at what other people have had done for them and I didn't like it, and I know I can control it. That's not the problem. The problem is that, one, you don't have a product to sell. And so, two, you have no money in your business coming into your business. And so you're trying to justify paying for what it is. And you can't do that if you don't have any inbound income. People would be more well served in trying to figure out, okay, one, figure out what it is that you sell. And then you sit there and you go, okay, I like this website. I like this website. This person seems to have done both of them. This is what they charge, and they're willing to do the website for me at this price. Okay, Well, if I've got a product that I can sell, then I can sit there and go, okay, so let's say that the product costs $500, and I have a product that I can sell for $50. Or if you want to go along with the dumb pricing path of 47, have a 7 or a 9 at the end of it, whatever. If it's $47, I'm not stupid. It cost me $50 out of pocket.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, that's a whole separate argument. So then you say, okay, I need to sell this many of this product in order to equate to get me this money. And then you start figuring, and honestly, what you do is you start figuring out how to build your business. So, Tina, I like you, but if you're such a control freak, then you'd have control of your goals and your days and your plans. And the problem that with not doing it is that you've got to commit into it. So anyway.
Yeah, and I won't argue that point. I think that's a good point. So maybe it's fear more than control, because I don't know. The fear of delegating is that I'm going to delegate it, so then it's going to be off my plate, right? And then it's not going to get done.
Yeah.
So I would agree that it is a sense of fear. That's the reason that I'm not delegating things. And so I wouldn't, I don't take offense to that when you say I'm not a control freak.
Well, and a lot of times people will sit there and I've encountered, and because I've gone through it too. It's like, what if they don't get done in time, or what if they don't do it the way that I like? Well, you know what? Then you've sat there and you either learned a lesson, or you've worked it into the contract where you get revisions or something of that nature. We don't have to do everything in order to build everything. We have to sit there and build our business to put food on the table. That's what's important. Yeah. We have to pay the bills. That's what's important. Figure all that stuff out, and the rest will come along. Honestly, if you're starting a business, you don't need a website. Go get a Facebook fan page. You can go get a Facebook fan page and a Google Voice number. Uh-oh.
I'm back.
Lost Robert.
I'm back. It's me, David.
Oh, okay. It's Steven now.
Yep. We've got a holiday this week.
I said too much to anger people, and so Steven's coming to rein me in.
No, I'm coming in here because Robert and I have set this up to go for about an hour, and we've been doing that.
Oh.
And a great conversation developed, and I didn't want to step in on that, so I let that flow. And I think when we can all get back together again, we can actually continue that conversation and take things further, because it was fascinating to actually just listen and to have the pleasure of being in the room and listening to everybody, contributing to a very constructive conversation. So, as is our wont, David, at the end of the show, it's your turn to do the outro, but it's not your show.
It's not. No, you can't do it. I'm not doing it. Listen, this is all Stephen.
All right, okay.
This is all Stephen Healy. You can listen to Stephen Healy, and if you didn't like anything I said, if I offended you, send your emails to Stephen Healy or Tina Shang. Leave Robert alone. Robert's never been introduced to me, so that poor guy.
Right, okay. I've got a German lesson I've got to get ready for, so that's my real reason for ducking out. So, Tina and David, thank you. Robert, I'll bring you back in a moment. Tina and David, as is our wont, if you want to give us a short call to action, and then I'll bring Robert back. You can say what you like.
Plan your day. Your day, your week is your month, is your year. That's it. Plan it all out, and watch the replay, and play for the replay or whatever.
What? I've seen that written down now.
I've seen that too. I got tagged, and then somebody said they couldn't find me. That's hard to believe.
Indeed.
Thanks, everyone.
Brilliant. Okay. Cheers, David. See you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. And Tina, your call to action as I bring Robert back.
So just don't. As David made a great point, that it's not so much control as fear. So don't let fear keep you from moving forward with your goals. And come and check me out on Shang Live at 2:00. I have a guest, Lindsay Thompson, and we are talking about Facebook Insights. So
have a brilliant show. Tina and I are working on something which we'll tell you about. This is a teaser, isn't it? We'll tell you about very soon. And Robert, your call to action.
Well, I thank everybody for joining the show today, especially David for popping in. That was a real good discussion. But really, my point is, know your goals, monitor where you are, and you'll progress and find yourself in that goal place that you envisioned. Unless you envision it, write it down, and there's something magic about writing your goal down. I've always believed that. And if you do that and monitor it, you will achieve it. So take this day tomorrow and the month of June to check out where you are, do a course correction if need be, or just turn on the afterburners and overshoot all of your goals if you're on track. And Stephen, thank you so very much for co-hosting this with me today. I'm on various Tina and I are collaborating on some long-term things, and there are audiences that will know that in the future. And we're also collaborating on a yet to be scheduled Saturday Night Be Live show, and it's a late night adult type. Well, not
Don't
adult,
say adult.
show. We call it the home of with intellectual nudity and
Stimulating
high level stimulating social intercourse, and it's just simply heartfelt discussion of things that are happening in our world.
And lighthearted. We want to keep it light,
Yeah.
so it's supposed to be fun.
But also from an adult perspective. So there are things that maybe children might not want to hear, or you might not want to have your children hear.
So it's after the watershed.
Yes.
When the kids have gone to bed. Right.
Correct.
Okay. I got that.
Yeah.
My call to action is to join us live on video tomorrow at 10 a.m. in the UK, a bit early for the States, as we blab for Britain. And just enjoy live video. And you'll find me Facebook and YouTube if you just type in my name. So this has been a pleasure. Robert, thank you for suggesting it. Tina, thank you for joining us. David, for joining us earlier. Leland, thank you for your comments. Eileen, good to see you.
Yes.
And we'll see you all again soon. And don't forget, Slang Live in an hour's time. Take care, everybody. See you later.
Eastern, yeah.
Right. Okay.